Your teacher today is Dr. Bosa Science. Dr. Bosa is a teacher at the Science Foundation College, the best school that teaches sciences. Today, we are studying geography, UACE 250/2, development of transport in the world. Transport is the physical movement of goods and people from one place to another. Types of transport: we have road transport. Advantages of road transport: road transport is cheap in terms of vehicle and road construction. Is when you compare the cost of buying a car and the cost of buying an aeroplane, you find that the cost of buying a car is very cheap. Roads are very flexible. They can reach each individual home. It has a maximum traceability in that tracks on the road can easily be traced using GPS. Compared to the air transport, the paperwork involved in road transport is much simpler. The time spent at the custom or delivery of goods is much shorter than that one of the airplane. Disadvantages: there's a high rate of accidents. Road transport carry less cargo compared to the ship and airplane. Road transport is dead by jam. Road transport in selected regions or countries. We have Trans-African Highway. It is about 6,500 kilometers and runs from Mombasa through Uganda, then through DRC, then through Republic of Congo, and then Central African Republic to Lagos in Nigeria. Then we have South Africa. South Africa has a very developed transport network than any other countries in the whole of Africa. It has major roads connecting the country with the neighboring countries such as Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Mozambique, and Botswana. There are also major road networks connecting from major towns like Johannesburg to Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, Eastern London, and Dubai. When we look at road transport in Zambia, Zambia is a landlocked country, therefore there is a great importance attached to the roads. It has major roads linking it up to the neighboring countries such as Angola, Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, Zimbabwe. For instance, the Lusaka-Harare, Lusaka-Lilongwe, Lusaka-Mbeya, and the Lusaka-Gaborone, and Lusaka-Gaborone. Then you can also look at rail transport. Advantages of rail transport: it carries heavier loads compared to road transport. It is cost effective, reliable due to standardized schedule. It has low rates of accidents compared to road transport. Disadvantages: it requires huge capital to set up. It does not carry out door-to-door delivery. You cannot have a railway reaching every door like a road do. It's not economic for small cargo and short distance, and it's not flexible. So you cannot say, I want my goods on this time. It has a determined schedule. Railway transport in selected countries. Nigeria. The South and the Central Jos Plateau have more railways. The South and Central Jos Plateaus have more railways. The West and the Southeast have poor rail network. Rail network joins the warfare town of Kano, Sokoto, Jos, Abuja, Makundi, etc. to the southern towns or ports of Ibadan, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Enugu, etc. In Zambia, the rail network is concentrated in the northeast along the borders with DRC and the south along the borders with Zimbabwe. The rail line connects Lusaka, Copper Belts to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, Maputo in Mozambique, and Rwanda in Angola. South Africa has the most developed rail network in Africa. This links most of its urban centers. Factors that favored the development of road and rail network. There's the historical factor, influence of the first settlers or colonial influence. Roads and railways were developed for effective administration. Then the presence of raw materials automatically affected the development of roads and railways. So the railways are connected to the source of raw materials, then to the industrial parks or the industrial areas. Roads are developed to ease transport to the tourist sites such as national parks, waterfalls, and so on. Road transport and rail transport also depend on favorable government policies. Some countries, when they put emphasis on road development, then they develop the roads. If they don't put emphasis on road development, then they will not develop the roads. Roads are built to facilitate administration. For example, in Uganda, roads to local administration units are well built compared to roads in rural areas. Sometimes roads are built to open up remote areas for development. So other factors which affect road development and rail development are high level of technology. The higher the level of technology, the better the roads and railways. Then presence of capital. Countries with capital are able to build the roads and the railways. Those without capital are unable to build the good roads and railways. Presence of skilled and unskilled labor. Of course, skilled labor is very expensive in the construction of the roads. People with skilled labor, like developed countries, they are able to make good roads. Presence of commercial activities. If there is a commercial activity in a certain area, such as mining, forestry, urban areas, then roads are built to link those areas to others. Then political stability, definitely. When the country is stable, is able to build the roads. When the country is unstable, is unable to build the roads. Even those roads which are there are going to be spoiled by bombs during instability. Roads are also constructed when you have land where they could be constructed. Presence of dense population, different population links up with economic activities. So high population leads to construction of roads to those areas. Research, by researching on good roads today, every day, good roads are being modified to be good and also to be durable. We also develop roads when we don't have any alternative means of transport. For example, what? Places which have good alternative routes of transport, for example, what? May not put a lot of emphasis to development of roads. Contribution of roads and rail. Positive contribution. Roads open up remote areas to trade and service industry. Roads promote international trade, enabling exports and imports. Roads promotes development of urban areas. Use of tarmac roads will lead to fast growth of areas. Roads and railways promote development of industries because they promote movement of goods to the market and raw materials to the industries. Roads promotes agriculture because it helps movement of inputs in agriculture and remove of agriculture products to the market. Roads and railways encourage settlement. You will see that in Uganda, many urban areas are located along the tarmac roads because it enables tourists to reach the tourist sites. Roads promote government revenue because government taxes vehicles that carry commodities and also taxes the fuel that is used by the roads and railway. Roads and railway lead to technological development in the form of research. Transport stimulates exploitation of natural resources, for example, minerals, fisheries, and forests, because these are able to reach the market. Transport stimulates provision of social services such as hydroelectricity, health services, and education, because the taxes from the road industry can be used in production of electricity and provision of health and education services. Road transport and rail transport creates employment. For example, drivers and mechanics. Roads and railways sometimes form boundaries for countries and local administration units. Negative contribution. Urban development leads to congestion, increased crime, poor hygiene. Road and rail transport cause pollution through oil spillage and gas emission. Road and rail transport may lead to accidents. Improved road and transport network may lead to over-exploitation of raw materials because the raw materials are easily accessible. Construction of roads and railway lead to displacement of people. Roads and railways lead to development imbalances in the country because places that have roads and railway gain faster development compared to those areas without roads and railway. Problems facing railway and road transport in Africa. One, there is harsh climate. Sometimes it is too hot, sometimes it's too wet, or those one will lead to destruction of roads and railway. Political unrest leads to destruction of roads or prevention of construction of roads and railway. Africa still backward in technology, so sometimes the roads constructed are not as durable as those in Western countries. Competition from other forms of transport. Budget for transport. Part of the budget is for development of roads, part of the budget for railway, part of the budget for water transport, air transport. So there's high competition. Not enough roads may be constructed as necessary. We have limited skilled labor to produce quality roads. The thick forest also hampers development of roads. The rugged landscape in many countries, mountainous areas, makes it difficult to construct roads. Limited economic activities. Sometimes you construct a road to a place, but the return on the money used to construct the road may be limited. Poor drainage. Poor drainage also spoils most of the roads, especially in the tropics where there's too much rain, especially in the tropics.